Hey guys, this is Lawrence of the Ketones and Coffee Podcast. Make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any of this great content. Hey guys, this is Lawrence. So welcome back to the Ketones and Coffee Podcast, and thank you so much for tuning in. I know everyone here that's listening are here because you want to create a sustainable, healthy lifestyle through a ketogenic diet, and every single week I try to bring in guests that not only has the knowledge, but these individuals has also been through the same trials that we all have been through when it comes down to our search for a better health. We get together in hopes to assist you on your own journey. Stick around because our guest today is a competitive mountain ultra runner. He is also the founder of Bluebird Provisions Organic Bone Broth, a company that provides a convenient way to consume delicious bone broth-based beverages and foods, with a goal to inspire others to take their health into their own hands. I'm so excited for this. I'm here with Connor Meakin. Connor, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, Lawrence. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome, man. What an incredible journey you're on, man. Just reading about you, you've had overcame a lot, and obviously build your own empire, trying to build your own empire here. But your story is one that is really one that, you know, shows grit, shows a never quit mentality. So I just want to commend you, and it's an honor to have you here, man.
Oh, thanks so much. I'm happy to chat on all things nutrition and all that fun stuff.
Awesome, man. So I want to preface your story here with our listeners. You were a member of the Canadian men's field hockey team for years before starting your career in ultra running. Had great success winning multiple races in 2013, but the following year you had suffered a devastating foot injury where your doctor told you that you may never run again, and had a 3-year journey back to running, and in 2019 you were back to winning races. Also important to point out, your time away from running has also led you to founding the company, the Bone Broth Company, now known as Bluebird Provisions. So we have lots to talk about here, man. First of all, the fact that you were able to bounce back from that nasty injury, not just casually running again, but winning races again and forming your own company while inspiring others on taking this path of healing. Man, this story, your story, you had all the excuse to quit. And yet you are here today contemplating your next strong move, man. So that is what I want for our listeners to learn today. It may not be, keto related, but anytime I can get someone with an incredible no quit attitude like yours, man, I'm happy to have them on. And so thank you for being here, man. So the setback and how you bounce back, I want you to be able to, you know, tell your story here with our listeners. You can be as detailed as possible. But first, let's talk about that journey from your time when you were in the Canadian men's field hockey team. I want to, briefly, and your decision to pursue a career in ultra running. What was that thought process there?
Yeah, that was quite the bio. So I'll fill in a few gaps here and there. So yeah, competed on the Canadian men's field hockey team. At the time, we were trying to qualify for the London Olympics, which, gosh, I mean, that was years ago now in 2012. So ultimately, we got to the Pan American Games, played against Argentina, our arch rival, and we failed to qualify. So at that point, kind of the year leading up to that, I just became really burnt out on the sport, amateur athletics. It's unless you're a real top tier sport, it's very poorly funded, and it's really difficult to balance the whole, trying to grow up and get a career and start your life with this dream of amateur athletics and maybe getting to the Olympics and representing your country. So that always ate away at me, and I always kind of felt like I needed to kind of get my life, kind of move things forward career wise. So anyway, I basically just quit the sport when I was 24. Started working for a software company and really got into running and eventually marathon and ultra marathon running with a friend, kind of just before work to stay in shape and kind of have fun and
Mm-hmm.
you really explore, the mountains around
Yep.
here. I'm in the west coast of Canada, which has really beautiful mountains and wilderness. So I was pretty good at that. I'm a pretty good athlete and obviously pretty fit for my background. So excelled, started doing really well, and just got, really, really into the sport, really passionate about it. And started doing all these kind of crazy races all in the mountains up and down the West Coast from,
Mm.
Vancouver, Canada down to California and Montana. And eventually, yeah, as runners can probably see where this is going. I got injured as we all do. And yeah, that really
Mm.
changed my life forever. I was kind of put into a real tailspin with just a really weird kind of freak foot injury that really wasn't responding to Western medicine. And
Mm.
doctors were telling me to take up cycling or try something different because I thought I'd never really run again
Yeah.
because there wasn't much precedent for healing the injury I had. So that it's a hard pill to swallow. I was really depressed at the time and kind of rudderless, not
Mm.
quite sure what to do. So eventually I started looking at a more kind of Eastern or holistic approach to healing the body. I was seeing a Chinese medicine doctor and doing a lot of
Mm.
research into specific foods and ways of eating to heal the body. So I tried, all these random strange foods that were, things from
Doing
anti-inflammatories
everything,
to
trying to do
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you might as well, right? For me, it didn't matter what worked. I
Yeah.
just wanted
Yeah.
something to work. So
Doctor didn't
uh,
stop you from trying.
no, I think that's important. There's always an answer. I think you just got to keep
Yeah.
looking sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm really stubborn as well. So I wasn't going to buy that. So,
Yeah. That's why we have the word pioneer in our dictionary. You can
you're
pioneer
right.
anything, right?
You're
First of all, if you had not tried, like I said, you would have never known it could be done. Like I said in the beginning, if you had quit, um, and you have all the reasons to, like nobody's gonna knock you down for quitting, right? Because obviously it's a devastating injury, and there's no precedent like you mentioned earlier. So you had the reason to quit, but you obviously it was devastating news for you. You had won a variety of races in 2013 in the US and Canada, and to just suffer an injury that you may not never recover from. So you said your initial reaction was disbelief, in shock, right? Can you take us back to the few months? Like, what was the few months like in the beginning after you heard that news that you were never run again? What are the steps that you took, or like you did say you tried Chinese medicine. I read that you tried functional medicine too. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I was, it's like you said, I was really just throwing anything at the wall. I was seeing, different, naturopaths and Chinese medicine doctors
Mm.
and looking at some Ayurvedic kind of practices and, still doing some traditional stuff like physio and all that kind of standard rehab stuff at the
Mm-hmm.
time as well. Um, and, eventually things certainly got worse. I mean, this was really like kind of like a 3 year process, 3 to 4 year process for me. So it was a
Mm.
lot of time, in the
Yeah.
doldrums of life, and it's kind of difficult to look back at because it was such a devastating part of my
Reflecting.
life. Yeah, but there's always kind of positives you can find because through my nutrition journey and really just finding different foods that might be able to heal my injury, I kind of stumbled across bone broth for
Mm.
its ability to heal, joints and tendons and ligaments and that
Mm.
kind of thing because of the unique amino acids and proteins that are in it. So bone broth has a lot of, collagen and gelatin and glycine and proline and all these amino acids you don't really get on a Western diet.
Mm.
And these amino acids are really crucial for, you know, gut health, skin health, but also,
Uh-huh.
joint pain and tendon health, which is
At
what
what
I was
point is
really.
this that you've discovered bone broth? Like, at what point in the 3 or 4 year journey?
Yeah, this was maybe like a year and a half, 2 years in. I was just Googling
Mm.
stuff and found some research and using, similar using gelatin actually, but bone broth is mostly gelatin. So I looked around and noticed that no one was really selling it, at least in
Mm.
Canada at the time. There were a few companies in the US selling it,
Mm.
but
Took you
yeah,
a
I
few
figured it.
months to discover this.
Yeah, it took a while. I was doing
Mm.
all sorts of weird stuff. I was like
Yeah.
drinking like raw colostrum and eating like aloe vera and all these like weird
Was there ever a
foods.
doubt in your mind, like within this, before you found out that bone broth is working for you? What was there ever a time that you doubt yourself and doubt why are you even trying? Like, was there a point? Because I read that you said that depression did kick in, right, in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. It was, it's interesting for anyone who's dealt with that sort of thing. They know that it's really difficult to get motivated. Sometimes,
Mm.
you kind of just wallow around and that's okay to an extent. But I think it behooves us to find ways or motivations to kind of progress
Yeah.
in something. So for me, I think with my, stubborn attitude, which is a gift and a curse at times, I just felt like, if I wasn't going to run again, I was going to exhaust every resource
Mm.
first. And
Yeah.
I think I hadn't done that yet. So
Yeah.
I was really passionate about nutrition in general, and just eating to fuel the body and eating it's really a beautiful thing that that the food we eat could just fuel us for
so
crazy adventures.
so traditional medicine didn't point you to bone broth. Just want to clarify that.
You're right. Yeah, no, absolutely not. It was a lot of Googling, a lot of
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
stumbling and being in the community of nutrition
Yeah.
and finding
Yeah.
it.
I could only compare it to. I'm not comparing these situations, but Kobe, rest in peace, Kobe. He has torn his Achilles one season. I'm not an expert in injuries, but the report was no player has ever returned the same player after suffering that. So most of them retired. Like it's a great excuse to retire. First of all, it's devastating, but so his mentality was challenge accepted. Like that's what I'm seeing from your story, from what happened to you. He returned, and his last game he scored 60 in a dogfight, ending up in a win. I want to ask you, like, what has kept you motivated? You said you were stubborn, like a gift and a curse. But what were you thinking? What kept you motivated? And you did say, did you know you could you did say you want to try everything before you quit, right? Before hang the white flag or whatever the phrase is. What kept you motivated in those years?
Yeah, I
You
think
think?
just having a conviction that maybe even if I didn't
Mm-hmm.
run again, I wanted a quality of life and to be able to walk properly again. I mean, during
Yeah.
this time, I didn't talk much about it, but I mean, I really couldn't walk without pain either.
Mm,
So just getting that quality of life was obviously step
the
one,
rehab.
and
Yeah.
and just really doing what I could to stay active. I
Uh
think
huh.
I guess I'm lucky in that like I try to be as optimistic as possible and I've kind of like trained my brain to see opportunities in setbacks and really just set my mindset to that. So I recognize that my mindset's a bit different than some people in terms of motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've
Mm-hmm.
always just been like extremely motivated to a fault. It gets you in trouble sometimes. So yeah, I mean it's difficult.
You
I think
want
you just have
something,
to.
you're getting it no matter what.
Yeah, and I think for other people, I think you just have to start somewhere. Like start
Mm.
where you are. If you can only go for a walk around
Yeah.
the block, then just do that, and at least find a way to get
Yeah.
started and kind of set
I
yourself
heard
up
I
for
heard
success.
I heard from people that has the same mind mentality. It's something simple that you have to change in your brain. Like it's something simple. Like there's not much difference between the brains of people that are super motivated, between that are successful, between like other people that aren't. Like it's something simple that you have to change. I forgot what it is, but like I said, like for the listeners, like it's something simple. Google it, like to get motivated. It's something simple that you have to change in your daily life. You have to be consistent. You can't be motivated all the time, but you can be consistent. You have to promise yourself, sign the dotted line, and say, "I'm doing this for myself." Right? That's what I'm seeing from you. Really, from your story, man.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think just showing up, just being there, and when you show up and every day and at least try to do something as small as it is, then you
Yeah.
set yourself up for something that may happen. But if you don't show up, then certainly nothing's going to happen.
Do you remember the first time you run again?
I actually do, yeah, because I was on like it was like a walk run, right? So I would run for like, 30 seconds and then walk for a few minutes,
Mhm.
and I would do that. But I do vividly remember, because I hadn't run in so long, that my, everything just got so swollen as soon as I started running, and started,
Yeah.
like, kind of in a good way. But yeah, it really makes me empathize for new runners, because running's just really difficult on the body, and especially starting from scratch, from nothing.
Mhm.
It's an incredibly humbling and difficult activity to get into. So I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
really just like made me relate to new runners, because it's so hard.
When did you realize that it was the bone broth, or it was the nutrition in the bone broth, or when did you realize that, oh, what I'm doing is working? When was that point in time? Do you remember?
Yeah. So I started, making it in my kitchen, in this little apartment, every day, really. And, before I knew it, I was stinking up the whole apartment, complex, much to the chagrin of my neighbors. But I was, kind of giving it to friends to try, giving it to family members, obviously drinking it myself. And after,
Mm.
yeah, a few months, so, around 2015, 2016, I started to feel a little better. I felt like I was kind of coming out of whatever I was dealing with mentally, in terms of the mental health issues. Had more energy, and yeah, my foot started to feel a little bit
Mhm.
better. It was a really gradual process, and, I don't want to say that it was only bone broth that helped. I want to be really clear that I was doing a lot of things at once. And I think, one of the main things was just a mindset of almost like letting go. At the time, I'd been kind of battered into submission for so long that
Yeah.
I really kind of had to just let go for a
You had
while
to.
of any aspect of healing, or getting back to where my previous
Yeah.
self, because
Yeah.
that person's gone.
Yeah. You must have been thinking of what could have been. What could have been this and that if it was why me, and thinking back that, the lost time that you've lost during those times, the 3 years, that because you were having so much success before it happened. Like, I believe that we can never plan for things like this. Like, that's why we work hard only, but control what we can control and leave the rest, because life sometimes takes us on a wild detour, right? And our initial reaction is, questioning it, fighting it, resisting it. In your case, you built something positive out of it.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt. It's just like such a gift looking back, on
It was a
such
gift. Do
a
you see it as a gift then, or looking back?
definitely looking back. I think at the time I didn't want to hear that shit. No chance.
Yeah, it could have been a career-ending injury, but now you're running again, building an empire. What has sparked you to building this company? Like, when did you realize, okay, I need to share this, and what was your goal in the beginning?
Sure. So I think now, and kind of when I was like stumbling on this idea, I developed such a conviction in the product, bone broth in particular, because
Mm.
it helped me, that I just wanted to share it with as many people as possible. So I think at the beginning I said, hey, if I can help, 10 million people feel better using bone broth, then that's a great mission. And that's still really our mission today. We're just out here trying to, educate people
Mm.
on bone broth, what it can do for them. It's certainly not, a magic bullet or a cure, as nothing really is on its own. But I think it's really a convenient way, and almost like a metaphor for people to, just take their health into their own hands, and,
Mm.
do small things that use mostly real food to, upgrade their nutrition, or just find ways to cook better, and really just arm people to equip them to help themselves.
What was the first year like building this company?
Yeah, the first year was tough. First couple of years were
Mm.
really tough. It's been, everyone always says that it's like a roller coaster. We've had some high highs and some low lows for sure. The first year I remember, I, rented a commercial kitchen, hired some people off Craigslist, and, bought some equipment, and, had this ragtag crew of people that were in there making bone broth with me every day. Um, and, I would make bone broth from like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then I'd go and, deliver it to grocery stores, or try to, pound the
Mm.
pavement and get into local grocery stores. Because you have to remember, back in 2017, Direct to consumer was certainly there, but yeah, shipping liquid products and frozen products, which is what we were at the time across Canada, was really expensive. So it was cost prohibitive to sell online at the time. So we were in local stores. We were selling it in the greater Vancouver area where we could deliver and ship to customers. But other than that, it was difficult to sell online. I remember the
Yeah.
first kind of success we had was a friend of mine from my previous job had he has like a local kind of blog in Vancouver, and he agreed to feature us. And
Mm-hmm.
without that, we wouldn't have really had a start. He got us our first a few $1,000s in sales, and just like so grateful for those moments that really got us started.
So and then after that, did it did it carry itself going forward? And when did you realize that there was a market for it?
Yeah, I would say throughout like the sales process of me trying to get this on the store in health food stores, that was pretty
Mm-hmm.
validating. I would say we sometime in 2018 we were able to get it into Whole Foods,
Mm-hmm.
which for anyone in the industry knows that's like such a validator and just like a key kind of marker of success along the way.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and at the time we were the only one on the shelf in Whole Foods, so all of a sudden we were doing
Mm.
really well. Like we had great success and sales were great because we were the only one there. But then, like any kind of trendy industry, other people like me found bone broth and started
Yeah.
companies, and now if you look at the shelf in
It's
Whole Foods,
huge.
there's like six of them, six different brands, which is
It's
crazy.
huge in the
So
keto community.
yeah, there's so many
Yeah.
brands now.
Fasting
So
community too. Yeah.
yeah, like yeah, most of our new customers are certainly like keto people or people fasting.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting how it's kind of changed, and which communities are drawn to it.
Who was buying your products now? Like who was the most what's the like who is
Demo.
your ideal customer? Like you found out.
Yeah, the biggest group of people that buy our products now are females. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they're moms of the
Mm-hmm.
family, and they typically find us. Well, they'll find out about bone broth online or on whatever, Instagram or TikTok or something, and they
Yep.
will Google bone broth. Usually, they'll find us because our SEO is quite good, and or they find us in the grocery store at Whole Foods while they're searching for something for their family.
Mm-hmm.
So, I say females because they're, at least traditionally, they are the ones who do the grocery shopping. I know nowadays it's different, but back then that was certainly our main demographic. And nowadays we're
Mm-hmm.
as I mentioned, we are getting more guests and shoppers who are looking for it specifically for the assistance with fasting, with keto, with different diets and stuff. So that's like our second largest demographic.
Your packaging looks like it's something that you could bring with you on the go as a snack too, right? I see bone broth as a snack, like something that you could snack on like outside, like and obviously when you're fasting, it's great because it's satiating. You can suppress hunger when you're fasting, and so it's actually a great tool for fasting because obviously you're craving stuff when you in the beginning of your fast. And for everyone that's listening, bone broth is a great way to suppress your your hunger, and so you can go for even longer hours without eating anything. So um love your story, man. Just the 3 years that you had lost, that you didn't lose because you've created something out of it, and still find your way around to running again is really inspiring. And for anyone that's listening, will be inspired. I want to go out right now and run. Like what what
I like
what
it.
what you've gone through. Most of them will probably retire after that, but now you're running, you're doing a lot of things. Do you what's your plan in the future? Like what's your brand? What's the plan?
Yeah, our North Star is really like bone broth and real food products. So, we've developed a dehydrated powder version of our
Mm.
liquid bone broth, and that is really where our growth is happening. We were able to launch that product into the US last year. So basically we're just trying to develop more new, real food bone broth related beverages and products that really have the nutrition behind them that actually help people. And we just want to get those in the hands of as many people as possible. So we're developing, a beef bone broth powder product,
Mm.
which you'll see pretty soon. And yeah, we're just out here doing what we can, trying to
Mm.
educate
Where can
people
they
on
get that,
nutrition.
Connor?
Yeah, so if you go to our website, bluebirdprovisions.co, they can find all of our products. We ship our bone broth powder throughout Canada and the US.
Mm.
And if anyone wants a discount, I'll do 15% just for you. So
Yeah, nice.
yeah, well,
Canada finally is getting something.
yeah, no doubt. So anyone in the US and Canada can order it. We'll use the code all uppercase ketones, so all caps ketones for
Awesome,
15%
man.
off.
Love it, guys. Check that out, guys. Um, my last question for you. What is your advice to athletes? Not maybe not athletes or people in general that may have gone through something in life. You know, you going through injury. Um, how would they bounce back from? What's the mindset? What should they be doing, or what's the mindset on like just bouncing back from something like that?
Yeah, I always tell friends like focus on what you can do and not necessarily what you cannot do at the time. So,
Hmm.
in the case of an injury, let's find something that you actually enjoy. Don't, walk your way through life doing things that you don't enjoy. So whether it's an activity or a hobby, find something you enjoy, ideally that gets you in nature, maybe with some friends, because that's really important as well, the social connection. Do that, start small, kind of rig the deck in your favor so that you set yourself up for success and all of the positive benefits that momentum will create. Because I think, it's really about healthy habits and things that you can do throughout your life, not necessarily short-term fixes.
Love it, man. This has been a blast. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, man. And where can my listeners, maybe they want to connect with you, follow you on socials. Where can they find you?
Yeah. Find me on Instagram. My personal Instagram is at Connor Meeks.
Mm-hmm.
So Meaks is the last name there. Or you can find me on LinkedIn or Twitter as well. Anything like that's good. Just type my name, Connor Meakin, and I should show up.
Awesome, Connor. Thank you so much for coming on again. Once again, man. Love what you're doing with your company, and continue what you do, man.
Thanks so much, Lawrence. Take care.
All right, brother. Bye bye.
See ya.